I was really tempted to open this video by screaming because it's what I did for most of the video. Either me screaming because of a jump scare or me screaming, "No, my boy! No, my girl!" It was, this was a lot. This episode was a lot. With that said, everybody, hello! Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our weekly Higurashi When They Cry GOU discussion video. Today we're going to be talking about episode 4, the final part of this particular arc. But before we do, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, let all of AniTube know that you're here. And with that said, let's go ahead and start this video proper, and to do so, I actually have some news for you guys. If you didn't know, this has been confirmed. It is confirmed. It is no longer to be deemed a sequel or a remake. It is basically standalone. Which is nice to actually get some official confirmation on that, because, you know, Ryukishi and the director have been very, confusing, because in some interviews they've said that it is, in fact, a remake, and then in others they're like, it's sort of a continuation, but it's also for newcomers, and then the official Twitter's like, you've both been talking some nonsense. This is what it is. So the official Twitter has confirmed that it is a completely new work, and I quote, a completely new work with, and I quote again, a story of Hinamizawa, a story of Hinamizawa that no one knows yet. So, this is officially okay for anime-onlys to watch. You can come back if you were, nervous about it. You can come back. If you're hearing this and you know somebody who was sort of unsure, send them this video. Let them know, hey, apparently the official Twitter has said that you're Gucci, okay? You can continue to watch this. It's a whole new story. I will say, this first arc, I'm glad that I had seen the first arc, but at the same time, I never felt like I needed it. I still felt like even if I didn't see the first arc of Higurashi like the original, I still would have been able to follow everything, and I know people who are watching this for the first time who are following everything pretty well. Now, it would be just super appreciated if everybody stopped freaking out now. The amount of anime fans, or fans of the original Sauce, I should say, who were freaking out about you can't start here, you absolutely cannot start here, you can't watch this here, it's bad, you can't do that, it's bad. Even though the friggin' creator, Ryukishi07, was literally yeah man, go ahead. I was like, cool, I'm gonna do that. And he literally called it a remake, and I shit you not, there was comments saying that I was a bad person and spreading misinformation, a bad person for spreading misinformation about an anime, believe it or not. But I was a bad person for saying that it was a remake, because Ryukishi never said that, except he did. In, literally one of the videos that Funimation posted to their YouTube channel, he flat out calls it a remake. And now we know that it's not. Now it's confirmed that it's not. But he said that. And so if you only watched that video, yeah, you'd probably call it a remake because the original creator of the dang thing called it a remake. You know what I mean? Of course, when it's you're spreading misinformation, the creator's spreading misinformation, on purpose. You know what I mean? So I can only know, I can only speak to what I have been told. So yeah, if we can now officially stop freaking out, it's not a remake, it's not a sequel, it's its own thing, okay? Everybody was wrong. It's, I guess, a reboot, sort of, but they're basically saying it's just a story it's a brand new story in Hinamizawa that you haven't seen before. So both new fans and old will be able to jump into this without it being, without there being any bar for entry. You can just kind of stumble in. And I actually feel as though I'm having a damn good time doing so as well. Nothing about this feels like it's too over my head. Nothing felt like it was too obtuse, and everything that feels like I have so many questions, I feel like that's the point. I'm supposed to have so many questions, you know? I'm also very excited for what this could mean going forward, because there's gonna be things that fans of the original source material now might not have any clue about. They might have an inkling that they know where things are going, but they may not know for certain. So it's gonna feel kind of neat to be along for the ride with everybody else. Like, having everyone be like, actually, you know what, man? I don't know where it's going. Because even in this episode alone, things change so drastically that it's like, I don't really know where this is going. And if you didn't know that things had changed so heavily, you wouldn't have noticed. You would have just assumed that this is what happened. But it's not. It's very different. And I like the idea that we're all going to be experiencing these changes together. From here on out, though, I am anime only. At this point, this is as much as I saw the original Higurashi. So from here on out, dudes, I know nothing. The only thing that I know is that I'm having a damn good time. And I will say, I did get jump scared quite a bit. And I even got, like, actually scared quite a bit this week. And whose fault is it that I was jump scared quite a bit? Well, take a freaking guess. Yeah, it was Reina. And I'm not gonna lie, the opening jump scare got me so bad. So bad. Like, we open with Keiichi sort of like laying in bed and he's tossing and turning, and I don't blame him after everything that he's been through. And he's tossing and turning, he can't sleep, just like he's trying his best to get to sleep, but he just can't. And as he's tossing and turning, he like glances up at where the door is, and he notices it's open just enough that as he looks into the darkness, all of a sudden, boom, there's Reina. And I'm going to safely assume I didn't get anybody with that. But yeah, it was, that scared the crap out of me, because I was like, dang it, they got me with the eye thing again. Reina peering through the door happens twice in this episode, but it happened last week too, and there's something unnerving about it. There's just something scary about somebody watching you without you knowing. Like, that idea that you're being watched, especially while you sleep, like while you're vulnerable. No, like, that's like the biggest yikes. Now, was she actually there? I kind of doubt it, but I wouldn't have been surprised. Like, the way that Reina was acting, like, was she actually watching Keiichi sleep? I don't know, maybe. Probably not, but I don't know, man. Like, Reina be scary. Reina be scary, like, this whole episode. And, like, I have to give my Nakahara credit, because she can swing from, like, cute and sweet into full-blown psycho so fast. Like, this went from, like, Hidamari sketch to school days at, like, the end of school days very fast. Like, I was like, holy crap. Like, this went from 0 to 100 so quick. And again, I have to say that Nakahara, she is a queen. Like, that she was born to play Reina. Like, she absolutely nails the weird sort of on and off personality of Reina, where, like, sometimes she's very sweet, but other times she's an absolute friggin' psycho. And she is very much on her psycho shit this week. And Reina has always freaked me out. Like, from when I first saw the original, the first arc of the original series to now, Reina has always freaked me out. And it's no more prevalent here, especially with the redone version of the door scene. Now, you guys know that I said there is 2 moments in the original arc that scared the crap out of me, and that was the door scene and the phone booth scene. And that happens basically in this episode, sort of. The door scene does kind of happen, but you don't get the, like, just go home. Just go home. Like, you don't get that just go home scene. But I actually think this is as creepy, because you have him unlocking the door. And the whole time I'm like, Keiichi. Like the whole time I'm like on the edge of my seat, like, don't do it. And when he opens it, you're like so scared about what's gonna happen. You see Reina friggin' smiling like a demon, and you're like, oh no. But when he opens it, everything's fine. You're like, okay, what the hell? And then you feel bad, because you're like, wait, all he had to do was just open the door? Reina would be fine? That's all that had to happen? Oh, damn. Psych! Because, well, yeah, the door scene is changed. It doesn't change the fact that Reina's still a lunatic. And Reina, like, again, like, the door scene, you don't get him slamming the door on Reina's fingers, although that was, like, I will admit, I was like, here it comes, and then it didn't happen. I was like, oh, where are we going, right? So I will say, like, there is benefits to seeing the original, obviously. But for me, it was still spooky, because you're like, don't open the damn door! And I imagine for a lot of people who are experiencing this story for the first time, Keiichi opening the door must have been nerve-wracking. And then when Reina just goes apeshit and, like, starts swinging the knife at Keiichi, And then, like, what kills me is, like, she's swinging the knife, and I'm like, oh, Keiichi, run, dude. And she does, like, she gets him in the face, and he, like, sort of charges at her, and he does, like a Goku type hit where he just crosses his arms and bumps into her, and she smacks the top of her head off the table. But the thing is, she's not dead, right? So when Keiichi goes to inspect, I'm like, double tap, right? Because I'm like, I've seen too many horror movies where I'm like, no. When the killer looks like they're dead, they're not actually dead. Keiichi, take another golf club out of that bag and double tap. But Reina just laughs, grabs the knife, and leaps up and stabs Keiichi so hard in the chest that you get a very obvious censor. Like, a very obvious censor. I can't show it, because even with the censor, it's still super gory, which to me is like, why even censor it? Like, there's blood everywhere. And, like, you see Keiichi, you see the knife go in. The only thing you don't see is just, like, the black oval that kind of looked like Terraformers or whatever that show was, where that's a show with, like, the really infamous censoring. It kind of looked like that. It was like, oof, that kind of hurts the scene a little bit. But it doesn't change the fact that this blew my mind. And the scene only gets more creepy when she constantly is, like, laughing the whole time and stabbing him. And he's, like, bashing her upside the head with whatever, I think it was, like, a radio or something. And, like, as she's stabbing him, he's hitting her. And she's still laughing the whole time. And it's so creepy. Okay, but here's the thing, though. We now know that something is different specifically with Rika. Like, Rika is clearly different now to how she was originally. And Rika notices that Keiichi is spacing out. Now, we know that spacing out in this show is probably a bad thing. So when she notices Keiichi spacing out, she says, like, she pulls him aside and says, like, is there anything bugging you? Or is there anything, like, upsetting you? You can tell me. So when she comes to Keiichi with kindness, it is sweet, but it changes things to the point where, like, this change is super drastic, right? Not only does Reina still die anyway, but Keiichi ends up in the hospital. I mean, at least well, you know, as far as she's concerned, like, at up until the last scene, you think at least Keiichi's safe in this timeline, or this loop. But also, Rika and Sotoko are also dead. So it's like, oh, and they get killed with the same knife, according to Mion. So that has me, like, sort of questioning, like, okay, did Reina go there and kill them first? Or, since Mion's the only one still alive, was it Mion? Like, did Mion go there and kill them, and she just got away with it? You know, like, I don't know. But it is interesting, because, yeah, like, Rika clearly changed things, and it looks like the whole time that Keiichi's gonna be able to walk away just fine. And we even get him meeting up with the Oishi, the police chief, and he just tells him, like, I can't even begin to tell you. I remember everything, but I can't even tell you, because everything that I've been through. And he just starts to cry, and Oishi, at the like a boss, does give him the time to be like, okay, listen, Keiichi, I'll come back and talk to you another day, man. And the whole time you're like, well, listen, man, Keiichi, this was rough, my boy, but, like, at least you got out of this. And then we get the end of the episode, which is, I think, kind of sort of an homage to the phone booth. It's very different. But we see Keiichi is, like, getting a checkup from the nurse, and I should have known something bad was going to happen. Because I'm like, there's still just enough runtime where something bad can happen, and I should have been like, there's no way Keiichi's getting out of this, okay? And she says, like, now, Keiichi, the first thing I want to ask is, have you noticed your neck is itchy? And it's like, uh-oh. Like, and Keiichi, like, feels his neck and then scratches it, and I'm like, oh, no! And again, this is, like, mirroring Reina earlier when she's scratching her neck, which, by the way, something about that always creeped me out. Like, the neck scratching thing, it's like, ugh. Like, it's just like, it's really gross to me. So it's like, oh, gross. And, like, Keiichi just, you see him reach, and he kind of, you can see him start to dig in a little bit to the neck, and then it cuts to the outside, and you hear Keiichi scream, and then the episode ends. And we get the setup for the next loop, right? So it's like episode 5, part, like, something, part 1. So it's like, oh shit. I don't know where we're going anymore. And I think there's a lot of fans of the South that also don't know where we're going anymore. And I like that. I like that we're all like, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen. And that's what makes it really exciting. And that's what is making this entire show very hype. Passione must also be very excited because now they have a big hit TV show. Because yeah, this show has been making some waves. Rightfully so. But with that said, everybody, that's gonna wrap up my thoughts here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, as always, make sure you hit that sub button, ring that bell, and set notifications to all. Let AniTube know that you're here. And before we go, as always, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names, and hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are now 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that Patreon link in the description, and the second option is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button to get a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course your name scrolling past the screen at the end of these videos. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and hit that join button or hit that Patreon link. Either way, it is super appreciated. So with that said, everybody, I am going to go attempt to calm down. I think I'm gonna go like just play some Kirby games or something. I don't even know. I gotta go do something to chill out after this week's episode. But until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and wash your dang hands.